see how people are going. They're getting in. Okay. Hello, hello. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming along. We have a very select group tonight. Only the best, of course.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi, Vicky. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. So, oh no, that's right. We've got more people coming. It's great. Wonderful. As you know, we enjoy doing this for you guys anyway. So thank you so much for coming along. It's always nicer when you have got an audience. Otherwise, I guess Pearl and Irene and I could just cook anyway, but kept each other company. But it's always nice to have an audience. So thanks for coming along. And I'm just putting it out there. Okay, you guys, everyone's got a Thermomix. And I'm just putting it out there that maybe next year you might want a little bit more cash. And would you like to join our team? We have a lot of fun. We enjoy doing this stuff. It's so easy with the virtual. Obviously, we're going to people's houses as well, as long as we're comfortable and they're comfortable. But, you know, it is a really easy way to interact with other people on Zoom. You can have a totally remote business running from your own home. So I'm just putting it out there, put it in your heads, have a little think about it. If there's something that you're particularly saving for, maybe it is a really nice holiday next year, fingers crossed with everything that's going on. But, you know, we'd love to have you join our team. It doesn't matter where you live, you can join our team. All right, so that's my little bit just to start with. We might just move straight on to the cooking. And the first thing I'm going to show you, I have to go to the other end of my kitchen for this one. And it's not because Boone's there, it's me. I'm moving to the other end, all right? But what I'm going to do is show you the blade cover peeler. So get this in here. Okay. All right, so this is it. It arrived a couple of days ago for me. I don't know why I've stuck my potatoes in there already. I think I was weighing them. So what I'm going to do is come back to there, and I'm going to come through to my. It's turned up on the page with all your different functions. All right. So I'm going to put it on here. What it says is use this mode with a Thermomix blade cover and peeler accessory for peeling. So it is this one, not the other blade cover. All right, you put with the grippers facing upwards, aligning the side notches in the higher part of the peeler over the two higher positioned blades. So that is something you're just going to have to play with when, you know, if you ordered one and you're going to get it. And you always place 600 grams of water in there. So what I'm going to do is put this on. So I'm going to put it over. So there's my high, I don't know how well you can see, that's my high blades. Going over here, and it's actually slots in quite nicely. Okay, so then what I need to do, I've got to have 600 grams of water, so I'm going to get out of that for a minute, and I'm going to come back and put my scales on, and I'm going to pop in 600 grams over. Okay. And then I've got my potatoes, and I did 400 for the recipe I'm using. So I'm just putting them in. I've just got 3 potatoes. Okay. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this very well, but they're just sitting there. So they're not actually covered by water, but they are sitting, the bottoms of them are covered by water. Okay, coming back through to my peeler. Oops, there we go. Get out of my little message. And then I'm going to put it on. And it takes 4 minutes. Now I did this the other day, and one thing it is noisy. Okay, so that's why I've got this down this end, and we'll go at the other end. If you can't hear me, we'll move on to one of the other girls whilst this is happening. All right, so I'm just going to turn that on. Maximum is 800 grams. Now, can you guys hear me or not very well? Okay, well, let's go to Irene whilst this is happening then. Thanks, Boo.
Hey everyone, I'm making the carrot, feta and mint salad on the board. I actually do feta, mint and watermelon, so another good alternative, but we'll do this one tonight. I haven't made this. I'm excited to try it though. So first thing we're doing is a couple of cloves of garlic, just little ones. Then it asks for, so when in the recipe it says 7 sprigs of mint, and you put half in for the salad dressing, which is what I'm making first. So I've got half of those there. We're going to chop those. Three seconds. Easy peasy. Love it. Scrape the bowl. To that, I'm then adding, this is 40 grams of lemon juice and 50 grams of olive oil. I've just got those in there together. And then there's a mixture of herbs, cumin, paprika, and salt. I'm just going to add those in. Oh, and a little bit of pepper. Blending those for 3 seconds, speed 6. Okay, my salad dressing is done. Much quicker than a trip to the supermarket. Okay, now my carrots are going to sit in this. So I've just got a tray where I'm going to pour this out rather than pouring it back into a container. So I can then sit the carrots in this mixture once they finish steaming. Now I love this dish. Well, I love this in terms of, again, I haven't made it, but I love it because I don't have to wash the bowl. Any excuse not to, you know, cut corners, I'm happy to. All right, so that goes back on. Moving on. We're adding in, without washing the bowl, half a litre of water. A little bit more, doesn't matter. Pop your lid on, remove your measuring cup, and it asks for 750 grams of Dutch carrots. That's 2 bunches for everybody else. I've just got my, until I was bored, 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down. 700 grams is 2 bunches. I've got 1 bunch here. I'm just going to pop that on there. And by all means, you could steam other vegetables. A bit of a waste of space, but it's just me eating this, so I have to do it this way. Okay, varuma in place, 13 minutes. See you in a bit.
Perfect timing. Coming back to me, Boone, please. All right, so down this end again. Okay, sorry. So what I did was I forgot a tip that I've read. All right, so when you are using the blade cover peeler, it suggests that it gets very frothy, and I'm going to show you the whole what I've done here. But there is a tip that you put in, like a tablespoon of, or a teaspoon, a tablespoon, I'll work that out and let you know, of oil, and that will stop the frothing because it's fairly frothy. Right, that is what's on the lid. Okay, and I obviously can't tip. Can you see how frothy? It's a bit hard to see. It's really frothy. Okay, so I'm going to actually bring you with me to the sink, if I can do that, and just show you when I tip this out. Excuse the, and so just have a watch as I'm tipping this out. Look at all this froth coming in. All right, and I've still got lots of froth in there. So that's, I totally forgot that little tip. I've just gone and hold on. Now I'm going to give these a little bit of a rinse off and I'll show you how they've gone. Actually done a good job. Look, there's a little bit left on there, but that's pretty good. Okay. So now I've frothed up my simmering basket that I actually need in a recipe. So it doesn't peel off in strips. It just, I don't know, it's really hard to see. It's just little tiny weeny little pieces like that that are left in there.
I would say it's very similar to scraping with a scourer. Like you just
that's actually
kind of
really
just getting it off.
analogy. Yeah, it is.
And in terms of the oil,
Yeah.
I actually use that same trick. Well, I say trick, it's a tip. So it's literally only a few drops, like we're talking even half a teaspoon of oil. When you're doing things like boiling pasta, where the water can overboil sometimes, and you get that sort of that froth. Same with the potatoes. If you're making the mashed potatoes, just that drop of oil just stops that foam, that foam action. So good tip.
Unbelievable how much foam there is. Anyway, that's a really good lesson for all of us to remember that little tip. Okay, so that's that, and I've got a sink that's clogged up too. All right, so I'm going to come back to that recipe in a minute. I'm using the potatoes in because I want to start the Brussels. So we had a bit of a discussion, I think it was last week, it was Belinda and Fleur, about veggies and did they like Brussels sprouts, and they said yes they did, so we decided we'd do. For me, growing up in the UK and probably Sue, it's, you know, Brussels sprouts is a traditional part of Christmas, and I know a lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts. You either like them or you love them, but we do like them, and the general consensus was let's do something with Brussels sprouts, so we are. And I did mention last time, I think, that what my husband calls them Dolly's cabbages. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is actually get the sprouts steaming. So just a reminder that your basics for steaming, you need to have, this is an American recipe, by the way, so we're in ounces. The basics for steaming, you need to have 500 mils of water in there. Don't ask me what that is in ounces, but presumably it must be something like this. For every 30 minutes for 30 minutes worth of steaming. For every extra 15 minutes after the 30, you need an extra 250 mils of water. And then it's always aroma temperature, speed 1. Okay, that's that. Put my varoma in position, and it's going to ask me to weigh in the Brussels sprouts. So I have actually halved them, and they're going in there. Secure the varoma lid, and that's going to steam for 4 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and add something else. But whilst that's happening, I'm going to start down the other end again. Good exercise for me this week. Backwards and forwards. Okay, so I have another bowl. All right, so anyway, with the peeler, you can peel any root vegetables in there. I'm going to have a go with beetroot because I think for me that would be more useful. We don't eat a lot of potatoes in our house, but I think the beetroot, particularly when you think about the mess that your hands get in, I know some people probably put gloves on, but I don't, I just get red hands. Okay, so I'm making here potatoes and green beans with parsley pesto. So the first bit is the parsley pesto. I've gone over the top in the cheese, but I don't really mind about that. Nothing like a good bit of Parmesan in your pesto. 15 seconds on speed 10. Okay. I'm sure you all know what that looks like, but it's just beautiful. And remembering, of course, there's no anti-caking agent in this, which there would be if you bought it at the shops, ready grated. 1 tablespoon of pine nuts. And with any pesto, you can select your greens, you can select your nuts. 1 garlic clove. So I did have pine nuts. If I didn't have pine nuts, I probably would have used cashews. Parsley, parsley here. And if I didn't have parsley, if I had rocket or spinach, I would have used that. 50 grams of olive oil. I probably could weigh this out beforehand as well, but I always think there's a bit of a waste when you're moving from one container to another. Salt. Salt. Okay. 20 seconds on speed 7. So I don't know what you guys use your pesto for, but I mean, this is obviously going as sort of a dressing over the vegetables, but we often have it in the fridge. We use it in, here we go. Oh, can't really see that very well, can you? You'll see it when I tip it out to this bowl. I put it in scrambled eggs. Fold it. You can fold it through pasta. Have it with some roasted vegetables. You know, there's hundreds of ways that you can use pesto. I think it's an amazing thing. It's delicious, and it's also a great way of using up some of those veggies and things in your fridge. And I am not successful at growing basil, so if I ever buy a bunch of basil and I don't use all of it, it goes into some pesto. So there we go. All right, there's the pesto. Okay, next, do not clean the mixing bowl. How do we love that? 400 grams of water. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to put the simmering basket in. And I have just got to chop these, I think these potatoes just a little bit. So peeled and cut into quarters. So I've got them peeled, of course. Excuse me, 1 second. And I'm just going to quarter them. Pretty good. So we were discussing this a bit earlier on. As I said, I don't eat a lot of potatoes. If I just wanted to peel 3, I would probably use a peeler. But if I wanted to do, you know, more than that, and I had other things to do, then I would, you know, maybe I wanted to go and get the washing off the line, but I had these potatoes I had to peel. Absolutely use the peeler.
I'm really looking forward to using it with doing all the baby potatoes. Mum loves using baby potatoes for Christmas.
Yes, I think
and we do
absolutely.
Kilos and kilos of them. So
yeah, right. Yeah. That's great. All right, so now I'm going to steam these potatoes here for 15 minutes on varoma temperature, speed 1. Okay, and I'm going to run down the other end of the kitchen. Back to the Brussels sprouts. I didn't even tell you what they were called. They're cranberry and pecan Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to remove the varoma lid. You always, whenever you're removing the varoma lid, you always tilt away from you so that any steam goes away from you and you don't get a facial. Then 5 ounces of butternut squash. So I'm just popping that in on top. A bit more. Put my lid on. And then I've got 11 minutes varoma temperature, which is interesting. Yeah, 185 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, you can't see that. 185 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's going on to speed 2. Okay. So we might move to Pearl, because you're not ready for anything yet, are you, Irene?
I've got a minute and a half to go.
Oh, have you?
But I think all it does is I'm just stirring the carrots and going again.
Yeah,
so-
that's right. And then your carrots have got to cool a bit anyway. So we will go to Pearl, please, Spoon.
Hi everyone, today I'm making a salad, and normally I make a traffic light salad, but today I'm making something different, a Christmassy looking salad, which is broccoli salad with red peppers and pine nuts. So I'm just halving the quantity because I don't have too many eaters in my house today. So 300 grams of broccoli, so I'll put 150 grams. I've got and this is such a quick salad that you can get everything ready and have it on the day of Christmas. Just get it ready and make it when you have your guests over. Red peppers.
Such great Christmassy colours too.
Yeah, I know. 1 apple. Some pine nuts. Instead of pine nuts, you can use any other nuts you have. It says even use sunflower seeds. The recipe tells you if you don't have pine nuts, use sunflower seeds. But I've got pine nuts, so I'll use my pine nuts here. 25 grams of olive oil. Such an easy recipe, everything you put together. Inside the here. Spoon of honey. Mustard. Some ground pepper. Now insert the measuring cup. So everything is gone at one time for 7 seconds on speed 4. And here my salad. In 7 seconds, you just can't go wrong. And how nice it looks.
It's just amazing, isn't it? That's one of the things that Thermomix is really good at is the super quick salads. So the recipe I've just put in the side there in the chat is the cranberry pecan Brussels sprouts, and we will put the other ones in as well. Thanks, Pearl. Better come back to me, I think, Boone. All right, so I thought what I'd look at my my very attractive kitchen. There's all my jars and things up there ready to be filled with things in the way. All right, so I thought I'll show you a little bit of Cookidoo, and I'll show you, this is the recipe. Actually, I've got it on there to share. That's the cranberry pecan Brussels sprouts. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? And we won't actually eat this tonight. It's going to be warm, but we won't eat it tonight. I reckon you can just leave it and have it as a salad. Nothing wrong with having it cold. It'd be delicious. Okay, so now, is everybody okay with Cookidoo? Is there anyone, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and I'd like to just see, hang on. Does anyone want a proper tour of Cookidoo, or shall I just show you some of the recipes and things that we that I put together for possibles for entertaining for Christmas? And Irene is actually going to show us a little bit of Cookidoo 3.0 as well. So everyone happy with the basics, finding your recipes, using filters, all that sort of stuff? Can I have some thumbs up or yes, you're okay? Yeah, thanks, Sue. Anyone else? Anyone need anything else? Yep. Cool. All right. Okay, I'm going to assume that you're all good, but and so what I'm going to do is come back in here and just going to show you. I made a collection here of recipes in my recipes. So this is my created recipes. This is Cookidoo 3.0 here. I'll just show you what I've got in there. A Vietnamese chicken salad, a nut butter dip. Actually uploaded both of those from the recipe community. I've got a vanilla ice cream and then some muffins, Yorkshire moggy, which is something that I grew up with. It's basically chuck a whole lot of fruit and dried fruit and nuts and chocolate into a bit of a sort of cakey mix. This is just adapted so it's gluten-free, and I've got a lot of almond meal in there, butter chicken and cauliflower and egg mash. So those are the ones that I've got in there. You can see it's got my little picture at the top there. But as I said, Irene will show you a bit more about that in a minute. But if I go into my recipes, I've actually before, I don't know if you've seen, actually there's another new collection today. I'll show you that in a minute. But this is a new one from that came out probably a couple of weeks, or was it even last week? 10 days ago maybe, in the UK, sorry, from Australia. And there's some really lovely things. I think that looks so spectacular. A spinach and smoked salmon roulade. The smoked salmon mousse looks really amazing too. Checking, so I'm just checking the other Thermomix just for a second. It's all right, it is doing stuff. It's just very quiet. And just a sneak little preview. This is, I think this is going to be offered as a cooking experience menu at some point in time as well. So that's the savoury Christmas. There was a sweet Christmas too. Why have I got that? Anyway, saved. Let's go. Savoury Christmas. Oh, maybe I didn't save that one as well. Okay, never mind. We'll find that in a minute. So coming back down here, if anyone is interested, these are the best cocktails that I've tried over lockdown. This one is a pineapple-y one. That's really delicious. The frozen Turkish delight martini, pina colada, pineapple and coconut mojito. And I know Pearl would agree with that one. She made that one for us one day. Strawberry mojito and the mango daiquiri. So they're the best ones out of the lot that we tried. And Christmas entertainment, I've got veggies somewhere. Christmas veggies and salads. Here we go. So I just pulled together, some of these are from Festive Flavour, which is sort of an entertaining and Christmas orientated book with some Australian type salads as well as more traditional vegetables and things for Christmas. But that peanut and soba noodle slaw is delicious. If you are gluten-free, you do need to check the soba noodles because some of them are not gluten-free, so you just need to check that. But, you know, you could just use rice noodles or something instead. But these are nice Christmassy colours. The steamed greens with lemon feta, we nearly had that tonight, but I was already doing something with beans with the potatoes, so we didn't do that, but that is delicious. Peas and, I never know how you pronounce, is it hamon?
Yes.
Hamon. Bow
Peas
to
and ham.
Yeah, peas and ham. All right, then that's better. That's the one that I'm making. The potatoes and green beans are the parsley pesto. The asparagus and broad bean salad. So they're all beautiful green salads. This one looks amazing too. The spice roasted cauliflower salad. It not necessarily a Christmas lunch one, but that'd be, you know, a great one to take to a party or just have, you know, when you're having people around or a barbecue. Steamed asparagus with caper crumb. That looks pretty spectacular for Christmas Day, and you know, asparagus in season. Green bean gremolata, the crunchy seeded broccoli. So there's all different things that you can do. There's just a really basic American recipe for sauteing Brussels sprouts. Glazed carrots with honey, they look delicious too. Brussels sprouts with chestnuts and pancetta. And I did these last year and they were really, really good. I'll be doing those on Christmas Day again. They were delicious. You like parsnips? I've got a husband who doesn't, but you know, it's all right. Don't have to cater for him, particularly on Christmas Day, or just him on Christmas Day. That's what Irene's making. There's a warm beetroot dish, red cabbage. That's a very wintry English thing, I guess. Doesn't that look pretty? roasted carrots with black sesame. So there's lots of different things you can do. Honey glazed carrots, a purple cabbage salad with pecans, another Brussels sprout one with a lime crumb, green beans with balsamic pearl onions. They look amazing. That's the one I'm making. Another simple beans one. This also looks very Christmassy. It's got the cranberries and the almonds in it, herbs, roasted potatoes and veggies, and the root vegetables with hazelnut pan grattata. And I made that last year in our class, didn't I? And that was amazing. I think I've still got some of this left in the freezer, which I will pull out and stick over some roasted vegetables this year. So there's lots of really beautiful recipes there to choose from. I think something's happening behind me here. I'll just check what it is. I've got to do next. Have you seen the preview? Let me stop sharing. We will come back and Irene will show you 3.0. Have you seen, Tim, you can up here, you can go open preview and it will actually show you the next stages, and you can just go through and see what you're doing. So I'm going to remove all this and discard the water, as it's asked me to do. So I've got my veggies here. I'm just going to check that they're cooked enough. Beautiful. Another little tip, if you're unfamiliar with it, put your varoma lid down on the veg, pop your varoma onto it, and any drips will go onto your lid rather than onto the veg. Pop that out the way. So I'm going to come back up here, close the preview. I'm going to empty the bowl. Discard water. And now this is going to make all that lovely, I'm going to melt some butter in it. And then add in the pecans and things as well to make the dressing to go over the veggies. All right, so I have 2 ounces of unsalted butter. Pop the lid on, and then that's just going to melt for 3 minutes. Okay, so we might, Irene, we've come back to you. I'm actually going to make you co-host to share your screen, I think. Do that.
So my carrots finished cooking. They need to cool down. So essentially all I did was take them out of the varoma, pop them in the sauce, and I've literally popped it in the freezer so that they basically need to be cold. To finish off the dish, essentially, I'm just going to crumble some feta and some pop some fresh mint leaves over the top. Do you want me to go through Cookidoo now?
That would be amazing. Yeah. So
all right.
You share your screen.
Do you want to share?
Do you want to share yours, or do you want me to do mine?
No. Am I okay to share?
Yes,
Have I been set up? Can I?
Yeah.
Oh,
just got to find your Cookidoo.
That's right. I've just got to find my Cookidoo. 1 second, guys, because it was there a second ago, and now.
Whilst Irene's finding Cookidoo, just if you know of anybody who wants a Thermomix for Christmas, it can still happen. All right. So we have this month we have a thermo server, 2.6 litre thermo server, and the barbecue cookbook as a gift with purchase with the Thermomix. And what they have done is, because we know how slow Australia Post is at the moment, it has been arranged that people can go to Glen Iris, to the head office there, between 10 and 2, and they can go and purchase a TM6. It is a credit card, one payment only, but they can go and do that and take it away with them. So that is available, and, you know, just talk to your consultant if you've got anyone that you think of who would like one for Christmas, or someone, you know, needs to be sneakily, you know, little whisper in the ear saying that, yes, your wife would like one. Then just, you know, contact your consultant. You just need to let, when you go to Glen Iris, you just need to let the person there know who your consultant is, and it will be assigned to them. But just so you're aware that, you know, it's still possible. Okay, over to you, Irene. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so under my recipes, for those that have been exploring, there's a new icon in there called Created Recipes. Created Recipes will allow you to create your own recipe from scratch. So when you go in there, you can click on the plus sign. Actually, it helps if I press the wrong thing on and you click on Create Recipe, and that's essentially you creating your recipe from scratch. I won't do that tonight. I'm going to show you something I like to do. So first thing first, I'm just going to choose a recipe, and I'm specifically choosing one that's a TM6 recipe that has things like sugar stages or high heat functions in them. And the creamy coconut chicken curry, for those that haven't made it, do make it. It's delicious. I'm going to choose this recipe, and essentially I'm going to copy the URL. So that's this title up here. So just going to do Control-C on my keyboard and then go back into my recipes. Click on Created Recipes, click on Add, and in this case, I'm going to import the recipe. I'm going to paste, Control-V, and import. And essentially what this will do is import the recipe identical that's currently on Cookidoo and allow me to change it. One of the things I like to do with my creamy coconut chicken curry is to increase the amount of meat that goes into it, particularly when I'm entertaining. So I'm just going to call this the 1 kilo version and confirm. So I've renamed it. I don't mind. I'm going to keep the same image. That doesn't bother me. As I go down, I obviously need to edit my ingredients. So I'm going to click on Edit over here, and I can add and subtract things. So in my case, I'm going to change my 500 grams of chicken to 1 kilo and tick the box to accept that. I could also add additional things. So I might like to add things like chickpeas. So it might be a tin of chickpeas, or in my case, because I make my own, it'll be chickpeas that I have stored, but it just gives you an idea. So you could completely turn this into a vegetarian curry, you know, swap out the chicken for sweet potato, pumpkin, beans. There's so many options. What I want to show you though is on the other side is functions that are not available to use at the moment. One of those is the high temp function. So things like sugar stages, high heat, you're going to see these in red, which means those functions are not accessible. You'll also see a little message come up at the top that says to you that there's unsupported modes within that recipe. So you do need to go down and make sure you go through those steps and remove those recipes and replace them with what you need. So in my case, instead of adding the oil and using the high heat temp to brown my food, I'm going to add the onion, add the oil, then I'm going to add a cooking setting, which is essentially maybe 5 minutes with temperature 120 and with speed soft or half or 1. I tend to not go above 1 when I've got meat in there. So that now replaces my high heat step and tick, and that's now fixed. I'm not really sure what this one's for. I'm just going to remove that scale temp just for the sake of doing this. If I scroll through, there's nothing else that's in red. So then I click on confirm. I've now modified an existing Cookidoo recipe, which I think is probably the quickest and easiest for you to do. So if you've got recipes where you've written some notes and said, oh, yep, I remember adding blah, 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 that's what I would do. Copy the existing recipe, save it as your own, and I'm going to click on done. So that's now in my created recipes. To show you what it looks like on screen, I'm just going to add it to cook today. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and hopefully we'll get this to work. Fingers crossed. Okay, so click on here. My week. You guys need to tell me if this is going to, or wait for it to synchronize. It's now being added into my week. Ready to start cooking. Can you guys see that? Is that clear? Do I need to come closer? It's okay?
I can see that, yeah.
Great. So click on start cooking. And it says enjoy cooking your own recipe creation. Thanks very much. move the arrow to the right, and it'll basically be the same steps as what you have. What you'll see down the bottom here is you've got the option of either popping the scales on or popping the cooking mode on. So in this case, it's asking me for 350 grams of the cauliflower. Click on the scales. It actually shows 350 grams on there. Can you see that?
We can't see that very well, but
Okay.
get the gist of it.
It tells you, okay, it's really small. 350 grams of cauliflower, so you can start weighing in. When you click that out, you can then go into whatever mode it is. In this case, it's 5 seconds, speed 5, which has been pre-populated. Okay, and then basically once you finish that, obviously turn the dial, keep going through those steps. So just remember, if you are modifying a TM6 recipe, that you ensure that it's got, you need to remove those high heat modes or those sugar stages. Now, a lot of the recipes we've got on Cookidoo have either, they've been modified for TM6. So there'll be a TM5 recipe for the coconut chicken curry. Use that recipe. That way you don't have to modify this, you know, because it's got no high heat function in there. It's got no sugar stages in there. So you can just do that and then modify by adding it in or converting it into whatever you like. Has anyone had a go? Has anyone had a go at creating? Any of our guests? I'm just going to go back into the gallery and see if anyone's nodding their heads. Anybody? There's lots of this way. We want to see this. Is that okay? Does anyone want? I mean, we can go into more, but that's basically the nuts and bolts of it. So at the moment, you can create your own, add your own recipe. You can modify a Cookidoo recipe. You can also import recipes from the recipe community. So is everyone comfortable with the whole copy paste of the URL? I'm seeing a few. Maybe. Susan's like, maybe not. Okay. Maybe we'll run through it again, Susan, at the end of the session, so we can have a close.
The other thing is does everybody know about the recipe community? So you just have to Google Thermomix recipe community, and it's full of recipes that we have that anybody with a Thermomix can actually upload.
Do you want me to do that as well? I mean, I guess
yeah, if you want to. It's yeah.
I can give that a go. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. So, okay.
And City had a question about high heat, and it's just in created recipes at this point in time. Oh.
.com.au, that's what we refer to as the URL. So essentially, just like I did when I've got to go back in and find the recipe I want. I'm just going to pick something because just to make it easy. What do we got? Recipe of the week, Christmas spice mix. That sounds pretty good. So we're going to click on that. It's not loading. No? Maybe I'll have to log in. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Guys, maybe I have to log in. It's been a while since I've logged in here. I'm not even sure this will work. No, doesn't matter. So okay, we'll stop sharing that one. Basically, it's the same as it was. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a fail. Once you log into recipe community, you highlight that recipe just like I did when I was doing the other one in back into recipe community. 1 second, I'll go back to Cookidoo. So when you're exploring in here, as you're choosing recipes, you need to be in that recipe to copy the correct URL. So if I wanted to modify that, say the banana bread, I have to be in this screen before I copy that URL. So same applies to recipecommunity.com.au. So I think we're
fantastic. Thank you, Irene. Do you want to come back to me, Boo, please? Oh. Okay, so I had to move on because, otherwise we'd be here forever. But I'm just going to show you what I did do. Remember, I had butter melting with my Brussels sprouts. So the Brussels sprouts out, I had butter melting. When the butter had melted, I had to add 2 ounces of pecans, 1 ounce of brown sugar, 1 ounce of balsamic, 1 ounce of cranberries, lemon juice, a little bit of chili if you want to, black pepper, salt, measuring cup on, 2 minutes, just getting all that moving around, and then transfer to a serving bowl with the vegetables and gently mix with the spatula. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. And I'm going to make this on Christmas Day. I'm so impressed. It looks amazing. How Christmassy is that? And it smells amazing too. I might even have to try a little bit tonight. But it smells incredible and really delicious, and a nice, you know, maybe it's more of an English thing. I don't know, but I think it looks really beautiful, and we'll be having that on Christmas Day. And the other thing that happened was I was just finishing off my potatoes and beans. That's the word I'm thinking of. Now, so I had the potatoes cooking in the simmering basket, and then I was meant to add the beans on top, but I checked the potatoes and they were cooked, so I took them out. So just a little bit of juggling around with that recipe could be a good one to play with to then modify in the new Cookidoo 3.0. I could have had the beans cooking at the same time as the potatoes, and I just have to check the timing, that's all. But the potatoes were definitely cooked before I put the beans on. So I took the potatoes out in the simmering basket and popped the beans on to cook. So I think they both look really good, and I'd be happy to serve either of those up, either for Christmas Day or having people over for dinner. So let's go. Pearl, do you want to show your salad again? Have you put it in anything pretty, or where's she?
Mute. This is my salad.
That's beautiful. And the thing is, it's so quick and easy. And even if you had people turn up at the last minute, it's something you can whip up in seconds.
And it tastes really lovely.
Yes.
It tastes like my traffic light salad.
I had to go, well, actually, Pearl was very good because she wanted to do the traffic light salad, and she said, no, I'll do something slightly different. It's her favourite. All right, so we might go back to Irene and see what she's up to. Please, Boone. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm just plating up my salad. So literally, this is half the quantity of the carrots. So this was one batch, or one bunch, I should say. And it looks pretty darn good, I think.
Yeah. I think they're all really lovely looking dishes, actually. Thank you, Irene. Thanks, Pearl. All right, just gonna, thanks, Boone. So just lastly, if anyone wants to host a cooking experience, we still have the mini vac as a host reward option. And the other thing is, I don't know if you've seen, but Thermomix, if you go to their website, there is you can check out the Cobalt. So the Cobalt is the vacuum cleaner. So Forwerk made vacuum cleaners before they made Thermomixes. And so, you know, the vacuum cleaners are amazing. I earned one as an incentive. I've also earned so the vacuum cleaner has interchangeable heads. So one you can use to vacuum anywhere, and the second one is a mop and a vacuum cleaner at the same time. And that for me is amazing. I am the world's worst at cleaning my house. I used to have to, you know, with a sponge mop, I had to get down on my hands and knees and dry the timber floor so I didn't get smears on it. Now I have this vacuum cleaner with the mop head, which is just a dream. So just letting you know that is available. If you decided you wanted to get one of those, just let your consultant know, because we do actually get a little bit of commission when you use our name. But yeah, it's an amazing piece of equipment. As I said, we've still got for host rewards, we've still got the mini vac going until the 22nd of December. Next week, we're going to do Party with Thermomix. We'll be having a little group conflab afterwards about what we're actually going to do next week, but it will be more along the lines of, you know, some nibbles and a couple of cocktails, and I'm sure Pearl will put her hand up for a cocktail. So we would love to see you there. And before we go, has anyone got any questions? Because we'd love to answer them. No? Very, very happy to answer any questions that you may have. I mean, it doesn't have to be what we've made tonight. If you've got anything else you've got questions about, then feel free.
Mandy.
Yes.
I did send something. Apple cider vinegar. Is there a substitute for that? What is the best substitute? Because my daughter has an allergy to it.
I'm going to defer that. I'm going to throw that one at Irene.
I would just substitute any vinegar really. It's just, it's got a bit of a sweeter, I guess, flavour to it. So, I mean, I like red wine vinegar, but if you're avoiding,
I've got red wine. It's just that she's
sorry, white wine. White wine
Holding it
vinegar
down
would be
for 3
fine.
seconds.
Yeah.
It didn't tell me anything or anything. I just gave up and just done.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. I was just using white wine vinegar. Don't worry about the apple cider. It's just got a different flavour. So just use a vinegar that you've got. I wouldn't stress too much about it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody? No.